To the capital we go. Presidential spokesperson Vincent Magwenya has hosted his weekly briefing, providing an update on the presidency's public program for the next 7 days. And our reporter Heidi Jokos has been following those developments, and she joins us now live from the Union Buildings, as you can see behind us. So, Heidi, obviously this has been a week dominated by the announcements made through the President's State of the Nation address. Before that address, everybody was waiting to see what the President would be announcing in terms of interventions for our power crisis, and the hope would have been that in this briefing this week that Eskom and the ongoing electricity crisis was still top of the agenda.
Yes, certainly. I think that is at the center of most of our problems here in South Africa, the energy crisis, how government is going to get the country out of the very dark tunnel that we are currently in, and some interventions announced by the President during the State of the Nation address this past week. I think the biggest one being the fact that we are officially in a state of disaster, of course only dealing with the energy and of course electricity crisis, but also a Minister of Electricity will be appointed. I think let's get further clarity. We are joined by the President's spokesperson Vincent Magwenya. Thanks so much for your time, Vincent. We do appreciate it. Let's just start off with many South Africans watching very closely what government is going to be doing to get us out of this energy crisis that we face, and a state of disaster has been declared. There's been much criticism around this decision as to whether or not this is really going to fix this energy crisis. You, of course, being very close to the President, what does he have to say about this criticism, and do we really think that this is going to solve our electricity crisis?
Well, Heidi, thank you for the opportunity. I think what is important now is that even those who are criticizing the approach that the President has chosen to adopt, joining in working with all of us as South Africans in resolving this energy crisis. What the President has done is to bolster the capacity that is required in dealing with this crisis. Over and above the National Energy Committee, you now have a Minister of Electricity who's going to be a dedicated resource at the most senior level of government, ensuring that we come out of this crisis within the shortest time possible. He or she will be working closely with colleagues in the NECOM as well as other concerned departments. So that's on the capacity side. On the other side is the enablement, which is what the state of disaster is seeking to achieve, to address the impact of this devastating load shedding on water supply, on livelihoods, on people's health, those critical areas of our lives that have now been impacted by load shedding will now be addressed through the state of disaster. I must hasten to add that in all the consultations that the President has had with community leaders, labor, union, business, interfaith leaders, even in the Presidential Coordinating Council, where you have Premier Alan Winde and Executive Mayor Gideon Hill-Lewis of Cape Town, they've all unanimously called for the declaration of the state of disaster as an effective instrument that will expedite or accelerate the various processes that are currently underway that get held up in various regulations, etc. And so the enablement is now there. Capacity is also there in terms of government's leadership or with respect to getting us out of this crisis. Eskom is getting the required skills of engineers and other skills to ensure its plant reliability. And so we should be, in the next few weeks, be embarking on a process that will ultimately get us out of this energy crisis. Okay.
I want to ask you about the cabinet reshuffle, because that obviously is going to tie in with the appointment of a Minister of Electricity. And in the briefing, you mentioned the fact that South Africans need to be a little bit patient, and the President understands the urgency of this crisis. But we've been dealing with this for 16 years. This is ongoing rolling blackouts that we've been dealing with for the past 16 years. And how much more patient can we be? Is there any possibility that I can twist your arm so you can tell me when a Minister of Electricity will be appointed? I know we shouldn't speculate who it will be, but just timeframes as to when the Minister of Electricity will be appointed, because the crisis is now, it's not in a couple of days, it's happening right now, and the cabinet reshuffle.
So maybe let's just separate issues for a little bit.
Yeah.
Indeed, we've been sitting with this energy crisis for far too long. The President is on record acknowledging that. We do not expect any extra patience. We understand the impatience, we understand the frustration, and we are alive to the economic devastation that this electricity crisis is causing. With respect to the cabinet, what you guys call cabinet reshuffle or filling of vacancies in cabinet, the president is applying his mind. On the one hand, you do have the imminent appointment of the Minister of Electricity, but you also have other roles that have no direct bearing to the electricity situation. So the president will soon be making that announcement. I can't give a timeline except to say it's top priority. It's right at the top of his to-do list to dispense with this task as soon as possible so that we can get various areas of government that are affected or that are going to be affected functioning properly and improving service delivery.
Okay, thank you so much for your time. We do appreciate it. I thought my charm would work and you would give me a time frame, but unfortunately not. Thank you. That was Vincent Magwenya from, he's the President's spokesperson. And unfortunately, I can't give you a time frame, Marcel, but as you heard, it's top of the list for the President. The cabinet reshuffle as well as the appointment of the Minister of Electricity. And if you heard what the President had to say during the State of the Nation address, he says that this is an existential crisis. The energy crisis, that is, and it's a massive threat to our economy and to society as a whole. So probably we'll hear in the next couple of days or whenever the President will announce how this is going to be dealt with, but also the appointment of the Minister of Electricity.
Full marks for trying. Heidi Jokos reporting live for us there from the Union Building.